Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to discuss the Filene basement case. More particularly, we're going to explain how the theories learning class can be applied to this specific case study. So we will cover several concepts like customer lifetime value, word of mouth and social value, loyalty programs, strategic and social CRM, and many others. So let's begin. Let's start by saying that Filene basement at the very beginning can be considered a transaction-oriented business. So the idea was to set focus on promotion and product profitability to get rid of every stock by steadily decreasing the price through discount. Then, when the company started to grow and to have success, it became to develop a so-called relationship orientation. So, the goal here is to achieve solid and long-term relationship with clients, creating a community of loyal customers, which are passionate about the shopping culture that Filene Basement was carrying. This is strongly related to the great investment made on CRM programs. So the company developed the so-called Insider Club, a program that rewarded the company best customers with special offers and events. By doing so, they allocate time accordingly to the customers that bring more value, making them feel appreciated and unique. So all customers, we need to remind that have customers that bring more value than others, and Filene Basement knew that. So here we can mention the huge difference that exists among customers that can be split on the level of contribution. So above average contribution, below average contribution, and negative contribution. Moving on, we need to deepen the idea of customer lifetime value and understand how Norma's lifetime value evolved over time. So normal value at the end of the relationship was too low to be considered a profitable client. The recurring costs were too high, she was not bringing any more value to the company, and her behavior was also upsetting the staff and executive. So even though for over 3 years, Filene Basement differentiated Normas from the masses, so treating her as a special, appreciated, and even loved because of the high value that the company associated with her, at the end of the relationship, she never considers the change in ownership and management and how these changes affected her relationship with the company. So new people didn't know her, and she was still expecting the same level of recognition and continued to take advantages of the company policies on returns. So to conclude here, companies are ever-changing entities, and so are the relationship they have with their customers. Norma was unwilling and unable to adapt to these changes, and the results were, for her, tragic. From the course, we also understood that companies can establish either a contractual or a non-contractual relationship with customer. Norma always had a non-contractual relationship with Filene Basement. Apart from some unwritten rules that didn't apply to her at the moment that she was a regular, there was never a real contract among her and the firm. So we know that the relationship where there is an actual contract among the parties are far more stable over time. So we can conclude saying that this can be considered as one of the reasons why the relationship between Norma and Filene Basement was not sustainable over time in the long run. Let's now talk about the Pareto and NBD analysis, NBD model, so how this type of analysis can be applied to the case. So, as also Norma claims, Filene Basement decided to fire her based on excessive returns and frequent registered complaint, but without considering her history of purchasing, which is definitely remarkable. So what the firm could have done before take this action is to run a Pareto NBD model analysis. It is a statistical model that allows to understand if a customer having a non-contractual relationship is still alive or not. It calculates through assumption the probability that a customer is still active in a time period T, and depends on the number of transactions registered in the time period and the time of the last transaction. So this could have given important information to the about the value that at the end of the dismissal, at the time of the dismissal, Norma was giving to the company. As long as they are active, customers purchase in a random manner, but with constant underlying purchasing rate. It is important, in order to make the right choice, to understand the underlying purchase rate of Norma at the end of the relationship. So, was still she a frequent purchaser? The number of transactions she made have significantly decreased over time. The profit that Norma brings to the company are still such that they demand special and privileged treatment. At every point in time, a customer has a certain probability of becoming active. So, was this Norma's case? All the answer to this question could have been of great importance to allow the company to make a more rational choice as to whether or not dismiss her without only punishing her for her opportunistic behavior. Let's move on now to the concept of word of mouth and social value. Let's remind that social value is the value the value for a customer of word of mouth spread by another customer. We need to consider that customer can generate value not only purchasing product or services from the company. Indeed, for many years, the value that Norma was bringing to the company was far behind the monetary value and could not be captured by her own purchasing records. She was bringing extremely high social value, and her commitment to the firm was incredible. So, through word of mouth, she was telling others to come to shop there. She was getting others to come, introducing countless friends to the store. So, for a long period, she can be considered as an influencer of Filene Basement, bringing again great social value. This is a great value to be considered indeed, because understanding the importance of word of mouth for customer acquisition in the target market, and therefore the importance of Norma for the rapid growth of Filene Basement. We can also discuss about the link between customer satisfaction and customer loyalty. Filene Basement was incredibly good in establishing a steady customer satisfaction that led to customer loyalty. By creating a hype mechanism where the products sold were perceived as unique and very limited, Filene succeeded in creating a range of loyal customers that were always satisfied about the product and always tried to be as close as possible to the firm. So we can conclude that there was almost zero customer in the zone of indifference. It's interesting to notice how the link between loyalty and profitability is also shaky, especially because one have to maintain the relationship for a very long time, which is never easy, as the Norma's case testified in this case. Now let's talk about loyalty program. At Filene Basement, the Insider Club is a perfect example of profitable loyalty program that rewarded the company's best customers with special offers and events. The company were giving both hard and soft rewards. So in terms of hard rewards, we can mention the price reduction, the promotion, the free product, the pre-sale price, and the sales extensions. Meanwhile, about soft rewards, we can mention the call before sales, the opportunity to try on clothes in staff private offices before there was actually a changing room. Also, the psychological benefit of having a special status. For example, the Sunday brunch only for regulars, or the invitation of the new store inaugurations. With this CRM program, the firm succeed in achieving efficiency profit, effectiveness profit, and also value alignment. But there is a negative side of this. They never consider the risk associated to the loyalty program. So the risk of changing customer consumption behavior in counterproductive direction. So, for example, this was Norma's case. So customer can quickly learn about how to gain the rewards program and how to maximize rewards with minimum dollar investment. So clients become opportunistic, and we can say that Norma became to develop opportunistic behavior towards the company. Let's move on and trying to analyze the way to treat unprofitable customer and what Filene Basement could have done differently before proceeding with the dismissal. So Filene Basement decided to fire Norma based on excessive returns and frequent registered complaints. But The case do not specify where Norma, at the end of the dismissal, at the time of the dismissal, was in all respect an unprofitable client. Therefore, before taking this decision, the company should have drawn a cost-benefit analysis to firstly understand if Norma was still bringing values to the firm and profit to the firm. They also did not consider the negative word of mouth that could generate the dismissal. So indeed, this was the case. Norma, after receiving the dismissal letter, the end of relationship letter, decided to not go to a lawyer. Instead, she took her story to the media. Generated mixed reaction from consumers, and especially a bad word of mouth towards the company. So I believe that the main problem here is due to miscommunication and repeated misunderstanding. So Norma could have changed her behavior way in advance, especially after the first two big clues. So, for example, she was not invited to the Insider Club of Newton, and also executives were giving her super rude and unpleased response to her demand. On the other hand, executive and employees could have been more direct and clear, communicating that more clearly the fact that Norma's behavior was not accepted anymore by the new ownership and management. So, lastly, one can argue that the method used to fire Norma was not the most appropriate one. Filene Basement used the so-called unilateral direct strategy to accomplish the relationship disengagement, where basically there was only a state of the relationship talk, where company explicitly stated that dissatisfaction regarding Norma's behavior, followed by an explicit declaration of the termination of the relationship through letter. I would have advised more like a unilateral, indirect strategy to accomplish this relationship disengagement, where the dismissal is part of a gradual process. So firstly, they could have decreased the level of relationship intimacy, followed by an increase of relational costs and a pseudo de-escalation. So trying to maintain a good relationship with the customer, mentioning also how valuable Norma was for the firm for many years, and explaining more clearly the reason why she was not valuable anymore. In this way, the dismissal would have been less painful, and the company would have faced the negative word of mouth that this end of relationship produced. Next session is dedicated to data mining, so the database used for CRM. Filene Basement should have created a database for customer satisfaction, customer relationship management, in order to create an analytical customer view, summarizing data referring to an individual customer and including all the analytical variables inside. By doing so, at the moment of dismissal, would have been easier for the firm to evaluate the real value that Norma was still bringing to the basement, and they could have reasoned it looking at the real data and numbers and not only considering Norma's misbehavior. Indeed, Norma claims that the firm didn't recognize neither her purchase history over the years, nor the other value that she brought to the company that was not captured by her own purchasing record. Then, about strategic CRM and social CRM. So, Filene Basement does not have the necessity to implement CRM at functional at a customer-facing level, because the company was already super efficient, the demand always been higher than the supply, and there was no need to increase speed and outcomes. What would have been really helpful for the firm is to implement a strategic CRM, so a CRM at organizational level. They could have implemented a complex set of activities that recognize differences between customers with respect to their economic value to the firm, and also the expectation that customers have from the firm. By doing so, at the moment of the change in management and ownership, the firm would have known the real economic value that Norma was bringing to the firm, as well as her expectation from the firm. So they could have seen CRM as an holistic approach to manage customer relationship to create better shareholder value, And so the relationship with Noma would have been probably more profitable in the long run. Moving to an end, let's analyze the different perspective on pricing. So, one can argue that Filene basement put in place a competition-driven pricing. So, they use price cutting as a useful market tool for gaining sales. So, through an automatic markdown, they were constantly reducing the price. By doing so, they were always one step ahead of competition, generating a great set of uniquenesses and strong brand appeal by the customer. They used also this competition-driving pricing strategy by differentiating from competition, not charging premium prices, but on the contrary, reducing constantly the price, as I said. On the other side, one can argue that also a customer-driving pricing strategy was implemented. So by offering unsold item with huge price reduction over time, Filene basement prices always reflected customers' willingness to pay, since a customer could choose when to buy the product. If it's too expensive, he or she can just wait for the next markdown and the price reduction. Obviously, there is a risk associated with that the item will not be sold, that the item could be sold by that. So this aspect, but only generates more hype and attraction because the product appears to be unique again and temporary. So customers always value the product offered as super high, tempted by the markdown strategy. So one of the last things I want to talk about is the concept of perceived value. So we know that the perceived value is the clear antecedent of a purchase. So client only buy a product if the perceived value minus the cost they have to pay is higher than zero. In Filene's case, the perceived value of product always exceeds the cost they have to pay for it, thanks to the automatic markdown strategy. This results in a strong value creation related to each product and the brand in general. So the perceived monetary value, the perceived monetary price is even low sometimes, and increase the perceived value of the item and especially the willingness to buy it. But we understand that the clients perceive price in different way, valuing also other aspects rather than only the monetary one. Indeed, the perceived non-monetary value and price in Filene strategy is the most important aspect. The idea of buying high-quality product at super discounted price, plus the idea of uniquenesses of the product, create a strong emotional, social, and functional value related to the product and to the brand. To conclude, we need to mention the part of the course related to promotion, especially the one about everyday low price. So one can argue that Filene price strategy is based on promotion, even though it's a unique type of promotion. So in general, we know that sale promotion are a mass communication technique that offers short-term incentive to encourage purchase or sale of a product or a service. At Filene basement, all items are always under promotion, so always discounted. So this involves cutting price over time. So we need to talk about everyday low price strategy rather than promotion. So talking about promotion here can be wrong. So it's better to talk about everyday low price strategy. Everyday low price strategy is a pricing strategy of continuously offering low prices than relying on short-term promotion. So in order for this strategy to work, prices should be reduced on average, and this is what's happening in Filene basement case, right? So the EDLP, through an automatic markdown strategy, also create the same advantages of promotion in some way, in terms of willingness to buy Filene's product either sooner, because they are afraid that the item can be purchased by someone else, or buying product they don't really need, because they see the uniquenesses of this product, or also buy always more product for the same reason just explained. So even though promotion in general can be easily copied by competitions, the everyday low price strategy is not. So the strategy of the firm of having always all items highly discounted result in a strong differentiation from competitions. They did something new that never happened before, and consumer loved it. So this is probably one of the reasons why Filene Basement had this huge success over the year. In this case, emotional aspect let you better understand the reason why people like promotion, because they feel they are buying product based on status. We have reached the end of this explanation of theories that can be applied to Filene basement case. And although I exceeded the 5-minute speech, I really hope that I expressed myself clearly, and that the insight provided and offered can help to understand how Notion learning class can be always applied to the real world. Thank you so much for the attention, and bye.